In this video, I'm going to be walking you through how we're going to structure the course to an online format. And I'm also going to provide you with a brief overview of the revised syllabus and the schedule that we're going to be following for the rest of the semester. So as I mentioned in emails, we're going to continue to primarily rely on Blackboard. And we're going to use Blackboard in a way that's pretty similar to how we did while we were still in class. So at the beginning of class time each week, I'm going to post under the content folder in the in-class exercises folder a new subfolder for each new exercise that we do. And just as I did prior to having to go online, I'm going to provide you with the assignment, the data, and there's also going to be a link for you to upload your work once you've completed it. So that's really not going to change too much from how we were doing things before we had to switch to online. In addition to that, I'm going to continue to utilize the discussion board. So at the beginning of each week, the beginning of each class, I'm going to create a new discussion board that is specific to that class. And at 2 o'clock on Tuesday until 4:45 on Tuesday, and a little bit after 4:45, I'm going to monitor the discussion board, and if you have questions, feel free to post them, and I'll respond to them in real time. If you run into a problem and you go to the discussion board, I'm going to urge you to take a look and see if someone has already posted the question that you're intending to ask, because oftentimes you guys run into similar issues. So first, check whether your question has been answered already, and if not, go ahead and post your question, and I will answer it for you. And now I've also provided you with an updated syllabus right here in Blackboard, and I just want to walk you through that for a few minutes. So as you know already, we've switched to an online format, but I am expecting that you complete the coursework during the normally scheduled time. So I expect you to be at your computers at 2 o'clock on Tuesday, and that you're going to be working on the subject matter that we are looking at that week. So although this is now an online class, I'm still expecting you to be at your computers at 2 o'clock, mostly because there's going to be work that you're going to be doing, and I'm going to be monitoring the discussion board and answering questions during that time. So just make sure you sign in at 2 o'clock on Tuesdays and you get started working at that time. In terms of office hours and how you can get in touch with me, I'm going to be extremely flexible here. I'm not going to have a set office hour time. Rather, I'm just going to be available to you whenever you need, unless I have something else scheduled. So if you do need to get in touch with me, please just send me an email and we'll figure out a way that we can talk. I have Zoom, so that would probably be the easiest way for me, but I can also give you my phone number if you don't have Zoom. But as I said, I'll be available to you just about any time, as long as I don't have a meeting or something else going on. I did change the assessments, so in addition to the workbook exercises, final project, and midterm project, I've added 5 quizzes. And these are going to be extremely simple, and they're really not even quizzes. They're kind of just a way for me to track that you are listening to my lectures. So as you listen to the lectures and demonstrations, I'm going to randomly pose questions to you in those videos. And so what I'm going to want you to do is to keep a Word document going, and I want you to answer those questions in the Word document and upload them to Blackboard in the link that I provide you in the content folder. So again, these are not going to be challenging. It's really just a way for me to track and make sure that you're continuing with the course. So there's going to be 5 of them. They're worth 5 points each for a total of 25 points. So these are actually kind of good news for people that might not be doing as well as they'd like to, because they're easy points to earn. And pretty much everything that I've said so far is written here. So I talk about the fact that we are going to be utilizing Blackboard, that you're going to be submitting your assignments to Blackboard as we have been already. I mentioned that I'm going to be monitoring that message board, and actually I was unspecific when I mentioned the use of the discussion board, but just to let you know, I'm going to be monitoring that for an extra hour and 15 minutes beyond our scheduled class time. Right, so I'm going to give you until 6 o'clock on the day of class to submit your quizzes, workbook exercises. So I'm giving you this extra time because I know that this is it's something that came up in the middle of the semester and you were used to me being there to be able to help you. So I'm going to give us this extra hour and 15 minutes so that if you're struggling, if you're a little bit behind, so that you have the time to properly complete the work and submit it to me. Does not mean that you can start an hour late. I, of course, do have a life. You might not believe that, but I have a life outside of being a professor. And so, although I will monitor the message board, the discussion board, beyond class time, I do request that you start on time so that hopefully we get done and you can complete your assignment before 6 o'clock. In terms of the schedule, it's changed a little bit because we had the 1 week extension on spring break, and I also had some exercises that we're going to do that required you to go outside and do some systematic social observations, but of course I took that out given that we are all at home self-isolating. And so, as I said in my emails, tomorrow, March 31st, we're going to be going back over the midterm project. I'm going to walk you through all of the steps that you should have done, should have taken to complete the project, and then I'm going to give you the rest of the week to put together the report. Next week we're going to get into crime analysis for the application in policing. So at this point we've really just been focusing on crime analysis skills, but we haven't applied those skills to law enforcement. So it's important to note that not only we don't just want to analyze crime, but we also want to provide valuable information to police leaders and police officers. So next week I'm really going to focus on how we can take the information that we glean from crime analysis and apply it to make policing more efficient. April 14th we'll get into hypothesis testing. So we'll do a reading by a gentleman named Spencer Cheney, who did quite a bit of work on hypothesis testing and policing. So we'll talk about how we can generate hypotheses as to why we're seeing crime problems that we do, and how we can use data to test those hypotheses. April 21st, we're going to get into problem analysis. If you've taken my Critical Issues in American Law Enforcement course, which is part of this certificate program, you've hopefully remember what problem-oriented policing is and that SARA model of problem-oriented policing. And April 21st, we're going to get into that SARA model, and we're actually going to do some problem analysis. And the last week before the final project is due, we're going to look into how we can evaluate police interventions. So we're going to use something called a weighted displacement quotient to test whether police interventions have been successful in reducing crime or not. So in addition to the lectures and the videos and readings, I've also given you a schedule in terms of what's due on what day. Right, so that's really it. I think this class actually lends itself to an online environment, so I'm not too concerned with getting us through it. I think the biggest challenge is that I'm not going to be there in front of you to help you out if you run into snags, but I think that's where the discussion board can be handy, and I will continue to monitor that. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop me a line. If not, I will see you in class tomorrow, where I'm going to be posting the videos about the midterm project.